Got your microphone on?
I don't know, is it
Yep.
flashing?
On. Beautiful.
Sweet.
We are live. Alrighty, Katie, hello.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Finally got a chance to pick your brain. And I'd like to thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not only are you a awesome patient in clinic, but you are an amazing dietitian.
Yeah.
So, what I wanted to do is ask you the first question is, why don't you tell us about your background and how you came to where you are in nutrition and dietetics?
Yeah, excellent. Well, thank you for having me. It's exciting to be here to tell my story. So I actually didn't start my career out as a dietitian. My background was primary teaching. So that's where I started. Always had an interest in nutrition and exercise. That was a bit of a side passion project, but didn't see it being a career move until one day I decided teaching was definitely just not filling my bucket and decided it was time to pivot. So I came to it later in life, and I actually wanted to get into the nutrition science side of it. So I didn't start out wanting to be a dietitian. I thought I want to be in the labs, looking at some of the interesting questions that when you look at social media, when you look at the magazines, there's always a debate about, this thing is good, that thing is good. And I thought, well, these people don't know what's going on. Maybe I can get in there and, just help shed some light. Not that I think I'm that smart, but that's what I was sort of thinking to do along the way. Ended up in the dietetics course because things happened. And it was a really great turning point because it meant that now I can actually combine my two favorite things. I can still do research, but now I get to educate as well and talk to people every day about my passion. So it's kind of turned out to be this awesome win.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So you're influencing lives for the better through diet and nutrition.
Yeah, definitely hoping so.
Well, you are what you eat, as they say.
Completely.
Every time you eat or drink, you're either feeding disease or fighting disease. So
Absolutely.
probably heard that one before.
Definitely.
I like
From you?
quotes. I like quotes. So yeah, hope you don't mind if I throw a few
No,
quotes away
please
as
do.
well. All right. Well, let's get into the bee's knees. So foundations of a ketogenic, carnivore, or let's say, high fat, low carbohydrate style of eating. First question I want to ask you is, for people who are new to this space, how would you define the ketogenic / carnivore / high fat, low carb diets?
Excellent question. So I think there's a broad way to define these. I always like to start with, well, what is a low carbohydrate diet? So for me, I think of anything under about 100 grams worth of carbohydrates a day is in the low carb space. So
Gotcha.
automatically we've got this nice umbrella to play with. As we get lower, that's when we start to get into the ketogenic space. So we normally start to think of anything less than about 50 grams of carbohydrates being ketogenic. In practice, I do find most people need to be a little bit lower than that to actually be producing ketones. So it's a very personal threshold. And then,
So you won't be able to have a donut on this diet.
no, not if you want to be in ketosis.
It's a
A sugar-free donut, absolutely. I think Noshu do one.
Gotcha. Okay, that's awesome. So it's really the amount of carbohydrates that defines.
Definitely. And then when
Those
you
two
get right down to carnivore, it's basically taking out some plant products on top of that. So it's
Right.
an additional level to that.
So you have low carb, ketogenic, and then carnivore is one of the strictest.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it. Cool. And what are the key physiological changes that happen in the body during ketosis?
Yeah, excellent question. So basically, most people walking around eating a normal Western diet that we all, have pretty much, your toast, your cereals, we're all burning sugar as our main form. So when we start to go into one of these style of diets, we start to become fat burners instead. So the closer you get down to the ketogenic range, that 50 grams or so of carbohydrates a day, your body starts to get into this really deep fat burning stage. And that's where we start to produce ketones in our liver. Okay.
Right.
And so it's those ketone bodies that are then floating around in our blood that can provide a different source of energy for our body. So it's just basically it's switching fuel source.
Yeah, and a more efficient source of fuel as well.
Absolutely, because we're
heard.
all carrying fat. It's our preferred storage form of energy. So it becomes an efficient way to use what we've got. And the other nice thing about ketones is they do cross the blood-brain barrier without having to do anything really difficult. So it's a lovely source of energy for your brain without your body having to work for it.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, I mean, since I switched to a low carb diet, definitely my mental health, my brain fog, my mental clarity has improved so much. which helps me be a better doctor and hopefully a better podcast host as well. All right. Well, so on to the health benefits and common misconceptions of these styles of eating patterns. What are the most common health improvements that you see in people eating these style diets?
Yeah, so
What's some of the
just the
benefits?
ones you just listed are
I
probably,
just put
you
the
know, the
cart.
top one.
Yeah, I jumped the gun there, but
Yeah, no, they're perfect because so many people will report them. So, and they're big things because it helps
Mhm.
you improve whatever you'd love to do day to day. Some of the other major ones are, I just love when people come and they've had a niggling injury or something going on for, a decade because they had a snowboarding accident or something 10 years ago. And within a few weeks, they're like, my shoulder doesn't hurt so
Okay.
much anymore because the inflammation's starting to
Mm.
change. People who have got blood glucose, issues, type 2 diabetes, we can get a lot of that under control, sometimes even get that into remission. So that's awesome. And
Yeah.
autoimmunity is another big one as well that we often see some really big changes in those antibodies that are present in blood tests and stuff as well. So
Amazing,
some really
amazing.
cool stuff.
So you can even start to reverse metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, diabetes, which, let's be honest, in the top 5 worst chronic diseases, that's creating a tsunami health epidemic through the world. So
Yeah,
awesome.
absolutely.
Awesome. Alrighty. What would you say to the critics out there who argue that a high fat or all meat diet is dangerous or unsustainable?
Yeah, that's a big one, isn't it? So
Mm.
there are some nuances to it. So I think there can be this style of diet can work for everybody, but you do need to run it past somebody first if you're not sure. Some medications are not going to work with this. We might need to make some tweaks there before you
Mm-hmm.
start. So a lot of
Yep.
the danger around this is people not really understanding that if you haven't got that bit in line, then
Mm-hmm.
bad things can happen. And so
Mm-hmm.
the media and everything like to jump onto that and doctors get a bit nervous. So that's where that stigma's come from. But
Yeah.
it can be done very safely for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other
So
question?
having
Sorry, parts to that.
yeah, so all yeah, what would you say to the critics who argue high fat or all meal diets? Yeah,
Unsustainable.
or
Yeah, that's the
understandable
other one. Yeah.
sustainability.
Well, it depends on your level of tolerance to this sort of stuff as well. I mean,
Mm.
I know people who have gone full on carnivore, which is, as we said, the most
Mm-hmm.
restrictive style, and they're doing
Yep.
it for years and they're happy. Other people find that too hard. So, somewhere in the low carb umbrella, wherever happens to be where your
Mhm.
happy place is, we can make that work for you.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for that insight. And I'm sure that's going to give a lot of people clarity. At the end of the day, it's about having a good team of people around you, professionals who you trust and who are experts in their field. When it comes to nutrition, the medical world aren't always the most well informed, considering they don't spend a lot of time studying nutrition. So it's professionals like you that help pave the way. What I've heard, is an argument you don't need to see a lot of research right now when you've had a million years of people eating these types of food. The research already has been done. It's a million-year study, right, of ancestrally what we've been eating is natural foods from the environment, natural
Absolutely.
fats, natural proteins,
Which is what all these
vegetables.
diets really do
Yeah.
prioritize. So it's just going back to what we've always had access to. And, if you do want research, we don't have a lot of good clinical studies available. I don't know if we ever will. And research science is not
Mm.
a great space anyway. But we've got a lot
Yes.
of what we would call N equals one. So a lot of
Okay.
individuals doing really well.
Yeah,
That
based
adds
on
up.
the results, right? Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my favorite type of research. Okay. Well, how would you recommend people transition if they want to get into this style eating diet?
Yeah.
Let's say someone's struggling out there, they want to experiment with this style eating. What are the easiest ways to transition? Or yeah.
Fantastic. So I think the takeaway is it doesn't have to happen all at once. You can do it slowly. So
Mm.
you don't have to jump into an all or nothing. I like to start with just getting out. There's two ways, really. Just start by getting out all the obvious carbohydrates. So,
Mm.
the chips, the chocolates, the breads, the cereals.
Love chocolate.
Oh, well, the dark chocolate might be okay. And it depends on exactly how many
Yep.
carbohydrates you want to go for the day.
Okay,
So,
got
again,
it.
if it's a non negotiable, we can work out a way to fit that in.
Mm.
Sometimes it's just limiting it. Picking a meal to focus on. So work on breakfast,
Mm.
make a change there. And once breakfast feels good, maybe work on lunch and start
Mm-hmm.
to look at what improvements or changes you could make there. So it can happen over weeks or months. It doesn't have to happen overnight.
Cool.
Um,
Thanks for that.
yeah.
And do carnivore keto eaters need to take any supplementation? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I do just find that is, again, so individual because it's going to depend on what you've got going on
Mm,
for yourself. What other health things might be happening, what sort of exercise you do might depend on how many electrolytes you need, for example.
yeah.
If you love red meat and you're eating lots of red meat, you're probably going to be fine for things like zinc and iron. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're a little bit more vegetarian, pescatarian, things
Mm-hmm.
like your iron are probably going to be low. So we might need to
I see.
supplement those things.
Okay.
So we can do, well, carnivore is obviously going to be a meat heavy diet, but we
Mm,
can do vegetarian styles of keto and low
mm-hmm.
carb. So it's just going to depend on what foods are coming in and do some targeted
Mm-hmm.
changing or supplementation if we need to.
Absolutely. I mean, I like to say diet first, and then supplement is to supplement a healthy diet, not to replace a healthy diet.
Correct. And just
Yeah.
because you start a supplement doesn't mean you have to be on it forever. It might just be for a short period of
Mm-hmm.
time, depending on
Yeah.
what your blood work says, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, personally, I take vitamin D, high dose. I take lots of magnesium. I take adaptogenic mushrooms.
Yes.
Really good base vitamin. AG1. Have you heard of
I
AG1?
actually haven't heard of aging.
It's an American base supplement.
Yeah.
Yeah, base vitamin. Really high quality, and you just have it in the morning. And I definitely notice a difference on top of eating a low carb diet.
I'm going to look that one up. Thank you.
Alrighty. So, what's your take on exercise and the crossover between your diet and how it helps your life as well? So, what's your thoughts on other things outside of diet?
Yeah, look, exercise is fantastic. Whatever you love to do. So it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be going to the gym. Just
Yeah.
anything that brings you joy and movement is always going to be beneficial. If you can do it outside in the sunshine, in the natural environment, bonus points for that, I think, for sure.
Beautiful. Beautiful. And does exercise performance get impacted in ketosis for those weekend warriors and athletes who, commonly it's like, you need the carb up to do an athletic event. What's your opinion
Yeah.
on keto athletes?
Love keto athletes. You
Okay.
absolutely do not need the carbohydrates, but there is going to be a transition period. It's not going to happen overnight. Your body gets used to burning fat slowly because you've come from a high carbohydrate background. So for most people who are just hobbyists and doing things for fun on the weekend, within about 2 months, you're going to be back to performing as good as you were, if not better, before you made that transition. So
Yeah.
very short time period. If you are competing at like an Olympic level, maybe talk to somebody else about that first. It's going to take closer to 9 months for that transition, but it does happen. And the nice thing, especially if you're then doing endurance activities, is I don't know if you've seen people doing big runs, marathons, they're throwing down gels and things to keep their body fueled because they're burning through huge amounts of carbohydrates. When you become really well fat adapted, you can do those same kinds of activities drawing on your own body's fuel. So you don't actually have to rely on any of those outside sources of energy during that event.
Fat adapted. Yeah, that's a good term. Yeah. I mean, personally, I do intermittent fasting. I eat a ketogenic diet, and I notice that I can train fasted and have this pure energy throughout the workout that doesn't seem to fade since I've been
Yeah. And
becoming fat adapted. So
yeah, I'm the same. I've done a lot of endurance events. I came from a running background. I'm now into canoeing and paddling.
That's right. Yep.
Yep, big hours there,
Yes.
sometimes up to 4 hours at a
Yeah.
time, and I can do those without needing to have anything other than water and a few electrolytes. So it's really freeing.
For those of you who don't know, Katie is an avid canoer. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, canoeing, dragon boating, all the paddling.
Alrighty, living life. We love it. We love it. Okay. So what's your thoughts on other lifestyle practices like sleep, fasting, cold exposure to enhance the effects of the ketogenic diet as well?
I love them all.
We'll
I
call
love
it-
all the biohacking things. I think
Okay.
on the pillars though, sleep is probably the biggest one. Like if you
Mm.
haven't got your sleep locked in, it's going to have such a big impact on everything else. So if there's one thing that we can improve, getting that sleep right. But I have a cold bath at home. I've got a
Wow.
sauna, so I try to do these things quite
wow.
often. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm very into all these extra bits and pieces.
That's awesome.
too.
And you obviously get the benefits from those.
Absolutely, I would not be sitting in a tub of cold water if I wasn't getting some benefit from
Okay.
it.
Yeah. It reminds me of Wim Hof.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a lot of mental strength stuff, but then you
Crazy.
get all the beautiful physical benefits
Okay.
from that as well.
Yeah. The only thing I can do is a cold shower for like a minute, and that's it. Okay. I do not like cold water, everyone.
Neither do I, but that's where you
I
start.
I definitely like a sauna over some cold water. Okay, excellent. Okay, so let's get into another really common topic, which is gut health. It's very trending at the moment. I'm doing a gut workshop that's coming up. So, what's
Oh,
your
fun.
opinions on gut health and or the role of fiber?
Cool. So I have a lot of people who come to see me primarily because they've got something going on with their
Mm-hmm.
gut, whether it's bloating or food's not digesting properly or, all the things that happen with gut health.
Mm-hmm.
By changing to a whole real foods diet, which is essentially what this is at the end of the day, can make huge improvements. We can work with the individual to see what they may or may not be reacting to. But in terms of gut health, the reason why fiber gets such a big rap is because we've got the microbiome, all the little bugs living in our gut, and they need food. They actually like to eat fatty acids
Right.
and butyrate and some of the different ketones. So what they do is they take the fiber and they ferment that down to produce those fatty acids. And so that's what's feeding them. So if you're not having a diet that's full of healthy fats, so low fat diet, which we've all been doing or being told to do for the last however many decades, fiber does become important in that instance because otherwise those gut bugs aren't going to have any food and you'll end up with a dysbiosis. That context though, if we're getting not enough healthy fats and we're actually providing nutrients for those gut bugs, the fiber doesn't become necessary because it's actually got food from other sources.
Absolutely. So make sure your colony of bacteria in your gut is getting the nutrients that it needs. And you can get it from different sources.
Absolutely. The outside of the supermarket, that's going to be where you're
Oh,
your
yes,
gut
shopping
bugs.
tips. Yeah, stay away from the middle. Yeah, absolutely. The processed food aisles. Okay.
Absolutely.
Which lead us into, what are some of the causes behind gut dysbiosis, in your opinion? What are some of the things that we may be unaware of that we may be eating or drinking or getting exposed to in our environment that can cause your gut to not work?
But look, in our modern environment, it's everywhere. And even when we're trying really hard to avoid it, they sneak in. So it's really tricky. They're putting lots of food and chemicals into things that we're eating from those middle aisles, especially. Some of them are known to be gut disruptors, but not at levels enough that they say they're harmful to human health. So we leave them in. And if we're eating lots of them, that's going to cause a problem. A lot of people don't do so well with things like gluten. It's not a gluten intolerance. It's not a celiac problem. It's just a protein that can be difficult for a lot of people to digest. It can cause your leaky gut situation, and then that can lead on to systemic inflammation and all of those other gut dysbiosis problems. Yeah, toxins in the water, depending on where you're filtering and how well that's being filtered.
Yeah.
Even tap water can
Okay.
have a few things in it. So it's really tricky to avoid.
Righty.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So the more research you do, become aware of how toxins affect the gut and your body, the better you can safeguard your health and protect not only your gut,
Absolutely.
but also your organs in your body and your brain.
Yeah, definitely. It's just about harm minimization. Like we can't stop
Okay.
it, and that's okay.
Okay.
But just, awareness, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm going to add those tips to my upcoming gut workshop for
Oh,
sure.
cool.
For sure. Okay. Well, let's do some fun rapid fire questions. So
Excellent.
for you, carnivore cheat meal. Do you ever do these?
Yeah.
What's your carnivore cheat meal?
I still like to stick to whole real foods, but anything that I normally wouldn't have, so probably potato, underground veggie.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Have you ever had duck fat potatoes before?
Absolutely.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
Beautiful. Amazing. And what's one food you bring to a desert island?
Jerky, beef jerky.
Jerky.
Yes.
Nice. Yep. And you don't need a fridge, right?
Correct.
Very handy. What's your most overrated health food out
Kale.
there?
Yeah. It's not, it doesn't even taste good. Why are we doing it?
Kale's had a good run, hasn't it?
It has.
And we'll just leave that there. Okay. And what's your favorite biohack out of all the things that you do?
I do think that maybe the light optimization timing is my favorite one because it's such an easy, pleasant one to do.
Okay.
Getting up to look at the sunrise, making sure I've got some blue light in my eyes during the middle of the day. So trying to get outside during the peak sun for a little bit and then trying to watch the sunrise, sunset again to get that circadian rhythm.
Yeah. Okay. And that's that hormone, normalization going.
Absolutely.
Yep, absolutely. Okay. Very good. Alrighty. And closing thoughts. Okay. What's one thing you wish everyone knew about the ketogenic or the lifestyle, the carnivore way of eating?
Yeah, I think that it's not scary, it's not a fad, it's not new. It's really just reprioritizing whole, real foods that we've always had access to as humans and making that the key part of our nutrition strategy.
Yeah. It's just using reason and logic and what we've done for thousands and thousands. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of noise out there, so it's good to go back to basics. And where can people find you, learn more about you, and work with you so they can have a chance to experience your amazing knowledge and skills as well?
Fantastic. So I am currently contracting out to the Sydney Low-Carb specialists. So they're in
Mm-hmm.
Castle Hill. So
Okay.
reach out to them. I do telehealth as well. My Instagram and Twitter is either Lower Carb Nutrition or Kate Urch Dietitian. Hopefully we can tag that somewhere because you're not going to
Oh,
know
for
how to
sure. We
spell
will. Oh, we will.
that
Yeah.
one up.
We're going to edit this. Don't worry. And any books, podcasts, resources you'd recommend to anyone who wants to learn more?
I love Ben Bickman's stuff if you're interested in blood glucose and insulin
Okay.
at all. He's fantastic.
Okay.
Some of my favorite books would be Sacred Cow, The Big Plant-Based Con is another really good one. What the Fat? They're probably my top.
Great. That's a great book name. What the
Isn't
Fat?
it? What the Fat?
All righty.
Yeah.
Great. Great. Well, that was awesome. Hey, thank you so much for the
Thank you,
podcast.
Ben.
Boom. And we will leave it there.
Fantastic. Thank you for
Alrighty.
having me.
My
Have
pleasure.
a good day.
My pleasure. Good job.
Okay.
22 minutes.
Did I
That's
talk
not bad. Not bad at all. First podcast, you did really